American History X, directing and cinematography by Tony Kaye, follows the life of a reformed neo-Nazi told through flashbacks. In the film, we see the effects that Derek's actions have had on his impressionable younger brother, Danny, after Derek's release, 3 years after his murder charge. In the opening scene of the film, we watch as Derek murders 2 African-American men who are attempting to steal his car. His younger brother Danny watches on, begging his brother not to kill the men, and then later on in the scene, begging the police not to take his brother away. The short sequence I'll be analysing shows Derek getting arrested after this event.
Drop your weapon! Put your weapon on the ground! Put your hands up! I said get your hands up! Now turn around! Put your hands behind your head! Get down on your knees right now!
The closer we get to someone, the more intimate things feel. Sharing a space with them allows you to easily share their emotions and feel sympathetic towards them. In this sequence, close-ups are used to evoke fear as you're forced to be in close proximity with someone who is already established as a hated antagonist. In this case, the audience want to escape the harsh proximity. American History X was shot on Panavision Panaflex series cameras, alongside Panavision lenses. The camera and the lens kit allows for a wide selection of lenses from 10mm to 150mm. The camera is also noticeably known for its use on Sam Mendes' American Beauty 1999 and David Fincher's Fight Club 1999. In this shot, Tony Kaye chooses to use a tighter Panavision lens, meaning the image is partially cropped. By cutting out part of Norton's head and arms, we are forced to watch only his facial expressions. The focus on his smile and the heightening of his eyebrow as he raises it helps establish his character by conjuring more fear and hate towards him. When Edward Norton's character is ordered by police to turn around, the camera lowers, looking up at him. A low-angle shot is commonly used to assign power to a character as they appear dominant over everything else in the scene. Despite the whole scene being shot handheld, the steadiness of this shot on a tripod or Steadicam makes this particular image stand out as key. As well as this, the shot is slowed down to help heighten the tension that would have been felt by the officers and his brother Danny, as well as from the audience's perspective. The use of a medium-wide shot in order to show Derek's full empowering figure alongside the low-angle shot itself depicts Jesus' imagery in Derek's stance and expression. The use of camera techniques mean that despite not being the authority in the scene, he is still in control. By having the shot as a medium-wide, Tony Kaye has maintained Edward Norton as a main figure in the scene without losing too much of his stance. The impact of this makes him look like Jesus on the crucifix, a man being judged and suffering because of his beliefs and actions. Derek later smirks, and partnered with the position of his arms, shows that he believes he is the saint in the scene. When arrested, he goes without complaint because he views himself as a martyr and that he is doing this for his cult following and for his family. American History X is split into 2 prominent sections that alternate throughout the film. These are present day and the reformation of Derek as a person in modern society, and the past, when he was relevant in the neo-Nazi society. These 2 different times in Derek's life are defined by different colour palettes, with the past being black and white, monotone. The black and white palette is symbolic of how Derek views the world and how he only sees black or white in a person, nothing deeper. This scene is one of the most intense and memorable scenes within the film due to the sheer violence and disregard Derek has to other people. One of the ways Tony Kaye directs this scene to make it more intense was by having it take place in the cul-de-sac Derek and his family live in. By having this sequence take place in an area commonly known to be quiet and peaceful, Kaye creates contrast to the violent actions taking place. As an open racist, Derek has a large tattoo of a swastika, the Nazi symbol, in pure black ink that is hugely prominent and obvious, despite the use of black and white in the scene. The position of the swastika shows that Derek holds his values close to his heart at all times. Additionally, he has 2 tattoos of barbed wire or thorns, which can in turn be likened back to how Jesus had his crown of thorns. The boldness and obviousness of Derek's tattoos reiterates how he is proud of being a Nazi, and that no matter what, there will be a reminder of his devotion to the neo-Nazis. The chaotic movement of light naturally sets off fear in the audience, but it can be exploited to raise our sympathies for a protagonist. The light in this scene is practical, as it has reason to be there, and is lit by the car headlights, the police sirens and streetlights. The light in this scene is also motivated by the movement of cars and the people stepping in front of the headlights. However, it is also motivated in the sense that when his back is turned to the headlights, we don't question why he is still just as lit. This therefore shows a 3-point lighting setup in the shots of Edward Norton. A key light to the left of the image, keeping him lit. A filler light to the right of the camera, softly enhancing his features and keeping shadows at bay. A backlight, motivated by the police cars and used to bring him forward in the scene. The harsh dramatic lighting in this scene complements the actions taking place. A softer light would cause the scene to lose its tension and will not complement the black and white colour palette used. Danny is illuminated, as if he has had an epiphany, as he watches his brother be arrested. Here he stays on the ground, on his knees, as if praying to a deity, whilst having a single light highlight his positioning on the ground. This is intercut with Derek turning around to smirk at him, hands outstretched in a godlike position. It is here we are first made aware of Danny beginning to shift his outlook. Danny believes that his brother did nothing wrong, which could be said to be the reason he begs the police not to take him. Danny finally sees the world from his brother's perspective, and his hatred for black people comes to light, potentially blaming them for Derek's arrest and incarceration. American History X is driven by diegetic sound. This is sound that has relevance to the scene and would be expected to be there. A prime example of this would be the police sirens. As the police cars rush around the corner to arrest Derek, the chaotic sound of the sirens evoke an emotional response of fear to most people. In this sequence, we see Derek calmly place his weapon on the floor, turn around and smile. This reaction to the sound puts an audience on edge, as this isn't considered to be a normal reaction. Another way American History X uses sound to evoke an emotional response in an audience is through contrast. As Derek turns to face the camera, the police sirens die out and instead replaced by an angelic, classical piece of music composed by Anne Dudley. Unexpected change in musical features, intensity and tempo is proposed to be one of the primary mechanisms by which music induces a strong emotional response in listeners. In this scene, through a variety of cinematographic techniques, Tony Kaye manages to visually communicate key details of the film's character and narrative. Careful control of light, framing, lensing and sound design helps to transform this early scene into a vital early moment in the story that sets up the powerful imagery and symbolism of American History X.